And I tell you, sometimes it gets difficult trying to upload edited videos and whatnot, and reviews of entertainment and whatnot. So when I'm on the move and can just knock out a quick review, it's a time saver. So I apologize, not the other format, but I am a big fan of this show. I just finished season one. Season two, new episodes of season two are coming out now. Um, and I'll get into that in just a second. But the show is called SEE. It stars Jason Momoa, Aquaman. He was in Game of Thrones in the first season. Uh, Mainly Aquaman in the Justice League and whatnot. But he's the lead character. He plays a guy named Baba Voss, and then Alfred Woodard, oddly, is another major, is a principal character, I think is what they call it. The rest of the actors and actresses, I'm not all that familiar with. Um, haven't seen many of them in other projects, but that's kind of besides the point. Basically, what's going on here, the premise of the show is that it's in the future. It takes place in the future. There's like this dystopian future, and it does take place. It's based on the North American content, and kind of takes place around Pennsylvania and maybe going eastward to the eastern seaboard. But it's 500 years into the future, and basically nobody can see. Nobody in the world has sight anymore and vision. That's why it's called see. And the few that do have sight, they call them, are the few that are sighted, they consider them witches. And they want to get rid of these people because they feel like sight, out of all the senses, they feel like sight is the reason why the world killed it. I mean, the world that mankind uh, messed up the world because of sight. And I mean, you can, and it's why if you look at what's going on right now, you kind of see where they're coming from. With us being divided, in a lot of ways, just based on skin color. With more to it than that, but so when we're introduced to the story for season one, um, Baba Voss is the leader of this group of people called the Alchemy, and they have a very location, that they call home. And out the blue, this army, or this small part of an army, is out hunt. They're called witch hunters or witch finders, and they've been sent out by this queen. Her name is Queen Kane. They've been sent out by her to track down this cat named Jerla Morel. You learn very quickly that Baba Voss, his wife, she's pregnant. She ends up having twins, and the father of those two twins is not Baba Voss. The father of those two twins is actually Jerla Morel. Number one, and Queen Kane wants his head fight. You put two and two together that Jerla Morel he's sighted. He can see. Um, Once the babies are born, you also quickly see that Jerla Morel, while he's been mentioned quite a bit, it's a black man. They home, and I don't know. I still didn't know what was going on, but they had these babies, and when they get to the new home, Jerla Morel has told them that in 12 summers, open up this box that I hid, and inside that box, Jerla Morel's plan was that everything that the contents of that box would help the twins to rebuild the world. He knew that they were going to have sight. So Baba Voss, he and his wife Magra, they have to tell the kids to hide the fact that they can see. At the same time, there's a snitch. There's a snitch in the love and the attention that black fans gave Game of Thrones. I used to listen to the For All Nerds podcast. They did an excellent job with their Castle Black, where they broke down the episodes week after week. But the black characters in Game of Thrones were really handled in a very stereotypical fashion. And you know, nobody said anything at the time, but it was some bullshit. But here with C, it's very intriguing to see that, damn, this brother is actually gonna be the dude who rebuilds the world. Okay, let me tune in and see what's going on. And for the rest of you know, for like episodes 5 through 8, you get to learn about this Queen Cain. She's very much like Cersei in Game of Thrones. She's conniving, she's devious as hell, she's ruthless, she's power hungry. She lies, manipulates. She's a mess. But she's all pissed off because she used to be with Jerla Morel. That used to be her, you know, her boyfriend or her man or whatever. Spoiler alert right here. Also, at the end of season 1, you find out that while that army has been chasing Baba Voss and Magra, his wife, and then Paris as well, Alfred Woodard, and the 2 babies is the last remaining people of the tribe. Once the tribe completely turns on Baba Voss and his family, the one major reveal is when Baba Voss and his family, his small clan, don't have any more moves to make. It turns out that Magra, Baba Voss's wife, is actually the sister of the queen that sent the witch finders out to kill Jerla Morel and kill these babies. So it's plenty drama involved in it. The warfare is handled really in a really dope way. They don't really spend a lot of time telling you or going into detail on how everybody is blind as shit until it's time to draw swords and put in some work, and then different characters know how to fight. You know, they know hand-to-hand combat and how to kill people with knives and swords and shit. They don't really, and it's basically they've just adapted. They don't really give you any reason, but Baba Voss is a hell of a swordsman and is extremely talented in killing people and killing enemies. I mean, the killing is very graphic and grotesque and violent. It's bugged out. But getting into the second half, you know, to finishing up the first season, Queen Cain is like I said, it's some Cersei shit. Her inner circle, all the lords and the rest of the aristocrats, they basically turn on her because she's essentially overused the army and the resources that they have to go out and chase down the witches, the lover that scorned her. And they just like, man, we need the army here for what, you know, to protect us. And you've had the army out here hunting down this family for 20 years. So they try to kill her. And of course, she senses that they're making a move against her. And of course, she kills all of them. And then she just she destroys the city that they have, which was centered around a power plant in in the Pennsylvania area or something. So once she blows up that whole situation and then leaves out to go reconnect with the dude, that the witch finder that she has doing all her dirty work, the show gets a little interesting because everything is kind of unsettled. And the other thing here that the one big move that they make in the show, in the series, one of the major moves is that the family gets the Voss family gets spread all out. The twins, by the end of the first season, the twins are like 18, 19 years old. It's a female and it's a daughter and a son. And they've sat here and read all the books in this that Jerla Morel left behind for them, like a George Orwell book. What is that, 1984 or something? I think is the name of it. Engineering books, science, technology, so on and so forth. Law, there's maps in there, there's an atlas in there. Philosophy and all the essential stuff that he thought the kids would need to read in order to be able to lead the world in being rebuilt and reformed and society or civilization being restarted. And then Jerla Morel's big plan is that the sighted people will be the future, and that all the blind people who he considers live their lives in total darkness, they'll basically push them to the side and gradually get rid of them. Like, blind people will not take over the world anymore. At the same time, what's happening is it's a little bugged out for Baba Voss because he raised these kids from the womb, and he's been a devoted and loving father to them. But they have this other father that they eventually have to meet. And he doesn't stand in the way of that. He goes along with it. But like I said, it cost him everything because by the end of season 1, his wife Magra, they get separated, and Magra returns to the queen and her army of witch finders. And then Baba Voss and his kids, the boy's name is Kofun, and the daughter's name is Haniwa, and Alfred Woodard. They're separated, figuring out their thing. And so to close this off, at the end of season 1, the kids finally get their way. They finally make their way back to their father, Jerla Morel, and he's at this place called the House of Enlightenment. And he introduces them to several other siblings, and all of these siblings are sighted. They all have certain skills. Some of them are black. Some of them are biracial. Like Jerla Morel has been out spreading his seed. But it spent all that time reuniting Jerla Morel and his kids for him to in just like an episode and a half, all this interesting stuff that you thought Jerla Morel could do with restarting civilization, he gets on some bullshit really quickly. And of course, him and Baba Voss square off to do battle. And Baba Voss, like I said, is a savage. His background, you learn that his background before he became a family man and the head of the Alchemy tribe, you learn that he was out there really doing a lot of dastardly shit, killing people. He was a slaver. Um, these groups used to go out there and snatch and kidnap people and make them, put them into forced labor, and sell them and whatnot. And that's what Baba Voss's family, that's what the family business was. So yeah, Gerald Morrell, he gets messed up pretty badly, pretty easily. Even though he had weapons, he had a gun. He had an arsenal. He actually had a compound. This House of Enlightenment was actually like a compound with some coal burning that was going on to provide power. He had a library with like 10,000 something books in it, and he really was on his shit about restarting everything. And I found all of this to be very interesting. And like I said, in just an episode and a half, he messed that shit up, and Baba Voss ends up actually he pushes his thumbs through more sport. He shoves his thumbs through Gerald Morrell's eyes and takes away his vision, and then he just ends up killing him. And actually, Kofun, the son, help Baba Voss basically, take down Gerald Morrell. And then in the very closing scenes of first season, it's only 8 episodes. I've talked about it before, the difference in these series that have 10 episodes versus 8. But it's only 8 episodes, and at the last episode, one of the things that Gerald Morrell did was he wanted to keep Kofun, and he made some deal. They only refer to him as a general. He made a deal where he would send the daughter, Haniwa, he would give her up and keep the son. And I guess he did that because he was trying to maintain peace and allow his situation to increase to where he could defend himself. But when you just building your army one kid at a time, you got to impregnate a lot of women and allow all of these kids to grow up before you can have a real army. Even if you got weapons and guns and different munitions and whatnot. So all of that shit is going on. But before Gerald Morrell was killed, Haniwa, the daughter, was actually taken off to this group called the Travantians, which was led by this general named Ito Voss. Obviously, Ito Voss is the brother of Baba Voss. And Ito Voss is played by Dave Bautista, or Bautista, whatever he goes by. And so that's what season 2 jumps off. Like I said, the first episode of season 2 is out there. And what you learn is the reason why Ito Voss wanted Haniwa is because I just got this message. I gotta get off of here. So he wanted Haniwa to bring, so that would bring Baba Voss to him, and he wants to settle a situation with, he wants to settle some beef with his brother, because his brother supposedly killed their father. There was something that his father was asking him to do that he felt like was immoral or pure evil. And instead of doing it, I think it sounds like he killed the father. And then Ito Voss wants to kill him for killing their father. So that brings you up to to season 2. I believe with Apple TV, I think they're releasing new episodes on Fridays. So they don't put all the episodes out there at once. But it's not a bad show. One thing that I would say you might want to do, or potential viewers of the show might want, viewers of the show, potential fans of the show, I think it's a good thing to step away from some of the other sword and shield fantasy movie series out there, because it's a lot of parallels between all of them. And you might need to clear your mind on other favorite shows like a Game of Thrones, or a lot of this show. A lot of the parts of this show will seem very similar to a Game of Thrones. I think The Kingdom is another good sword and shield show that's on Netflix. That was great for like 3 seasons, maybe even gave you a good solid 4 seasons. But then the feel of that show kind of got a little tired. So if I was to watch The Kingdom with Uhtred, son of Uhtred, if I was to watch that show and then go right into C, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't give C a chance because it's a lot of overlap there. And then when you have a behemoth like Game of Thrones that ran shit, in pop culture and whatnot for 6, 7, 8 seasons. Definitely, it's a lot of overlap between that. But getting away from Game of Thrones for a couple of years now, and then kind of work my way through the Kingdom. C is pretty decent, and Momoa does a great job as Baba Voss. Alfred Woodard, you know, who would think that she'd be in a fantasy show? But she's a little overbearing, but she works. It's a solid show. So I'd just be interested to know if there are any other fans of C out there, if that's one of the shows that you have on your playlist or in rotation, and see if anybody has any, what kind of expectations might be out there for season 2. Anyway, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Peace. Have a great day.